Brooks here. This is Rod. I'm Lawson. Today we're having a quick look at the Cirqus Voltaire Pinball. Cirqus Voltaire Pin was released in 1997. And Rod, do you know how many units were produced? Because I know.
I think there's around 3,000.
Very close. There's 2,704 it said on IPDB.
Okay.
So under 3,000, which makes it somewhat of a rare pin, I guess.
Definitely.
Do you see many of these out there?
Not very many at all.
Not very many at all. I managed to land this one a couple of years back now, and it's one of my collector pieces. I do like it. Rod, tell me about this pin. What do you know about it? What's your opinion of it?
It's a very interesting pinball machine. There's a lot going on. It's very, very busy. You've got the neon, you've got the Ringmaster, you've got the menagerie ball, you've got a ball up here that goes through here and activates certain switches. It's a very, very busy game. Probably the first thing, they're not all going to have this dressing.
Mm-hmm. Did they come out factory with that dressing?
They did, but for reasons you can probably imagine, a lot of operators just took them off.
Gotcha. I find them, to be honest with you, one of the most annoying parts of the game because it's constantly knocking my other pin next to it.
Yeah. So the other thing, the big feature of this game, doesn't interact with the ball, but it's the neon, and there's different colours. And even from the factory, there were different colours. I think what they did was the menagerie ball used to be the same colour as the neon.
I see.
Now that can be a problem. You can buy them. There's also you can't really see it, but it's up the back here. There's a high voltage transformer that powers that, because I think it's around about 1,000 volts.
Wow.
So
okay.
It's actually, so don't stuff around with that with the power on.
Yeah.
You might be sorry.
Got it.
So the Ringmaster is probably the key thing that does interact with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That can be a problem. There's a series of switches, and if you try and adjust them and they're out of adjustment, you'll spend your life trying to get them back in adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually the same motor and gearbox that does Doctor Who.
Which is the 3 levels. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the same stuff.
Gotcha. This has 3 levels as well, then, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
Of course,
so
from flat up and up. Yeah.
So he can be a problem. I think there's actually different types of the face of the Ringmaster. Like there's an earlier one and
gotcha.
The production.
And if I'm not mistaken, they're a bastard to replace. Am I correct?
Yeah.
In getting them back on again, right?
It's a bit fiddly, and I did one recently where there was some sort of a cover that he put on top of that, and we just could not get it to sit flush with the gun. We had to just take it off to make it work.
Right. Okay.
The other thing that comes to mind, a repair I did on one of these a few years ago, and this is to do with the balls that you use.
Mm-hmm.
The person had put highly polished chrome balls in.
Right.
And what would happen is when the post would drop down to release the balls, they would just sit there and they wouldn't come out.
Magnetised or?
Magnetised, yeah.
Gotcha.
There's also this dot matrix. Well, you've got an LED one in here, which incidentally, if you are putting replacement colour displays, you can only fit.
You've only got one option.
The LED. You can't put the LCD one in.
That's because of sizing, right?
Yeah, because it's really because they put this animation in the back. They had no room for the display, so they threw it down there. The other thing is on the right hand side, you'll see a lot of the plastic that covers it will crack because you've got to be really careful when you lift the playfield up. You can actually hook it onto this part of here and just snap it off. So that's
fortunately, the person that had this game before me, big warning, lock playfield went up.
Yeah, so when the playfield comes up, there's actually a little latch that flicks up and holds it in place, because when it's up and it's resting, even without these on, it's very close to falling down.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely be careful of that. Other than that, the other thing that I do notice about this game is that, as opposed to other games that will have error messages, they generally don't generate for about 30 games, 90 balls, 30 games. It'll display a message, this switch is not working properly. But this game seems to generate error reports after maybe 5 games, particularly the switch up here in the back.
I can certainly verify that. I will have a few games on it, or my kids will play on it, and suddenly I've got error messages on it, as I do now. And once you hit that switch, the error goes away, so it's not actually a problem,
The other thing too is this this ball up here. It's actually just a plastic. It's quite lightweight. I worked on one not long ago where we couldn't seem to get it to go. It can go 3 ways. It can go to the left, to the middle, or to the right. And for whatever reason on his, every time it just went to the left. We had to manipulate it a bit, but that sort of gets...
It's a little bit flimsy, isn't it, Pat?
Yeah. So I'd say this is definitely a game that you're not going to see in any big numbers out there.
Yeah, sure.
It's probably more of a collector's piece, but it is a nice game. It is very intense. And the other thing too with this is there is a home version of the software.
Yes. Okay.
I'm not. Well, you've probably played this a bit. I don't know. You might have the home version in here. I'm not sure.
I can't quite remember.
It does bring the game, according to people who've got it, it makes the game totally different with that in there.
Okay.
And look, if you've got one and you haven't got it, you can talk to a local technician about getting one in there. They're not probably talking $10, $20 for the chip.
Get it in there,
It definitely adds a lot of gameplay and a lot of extra things. And actually the programmer was an Australian.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so definitely if you've got one and you haven't got the home version, I would investigate doing that.
Okay. Now you did critique that when you first played this pinball, was it 1997, the first time when it landed in Australia, your first thought was, why did they stop the artwork there? Why?
Yeah.
And obviously we don't have an answer to that, but I never noticed it till you pointed it out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it fits in with what they were doing, but it almost looked like it's...
they ran out of paint.
Yeah, or it's lunchtime, let's go. This also has the vanishing bumper that pops up at certain points. I haven't really encountered a whole lot of grief with them, but something to consider when you're playing it, that the bumper's just going to pop up out and start. I think it's only 1 or 2 modes that happens.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't think it's a very common thing. But yeah, other than that, that's about all I can think of with this one.
So the question I have for you, Rod, is out of 10, what would you rate this game?
Wow. I think I'm probably going to go a 7.5.
Okay.
I haven't played it a lot.
Okay. I'm pretty critical of this game. I love it as a collector, but to play it, I'm going to give it a 6 at best.
Right.
Personally, I find that one of my, complaints about it would be that it has a lot of stop-start modes in it. Yeah. The sideshows really just drain the flow of the game.
Now, I'm not sure, but I think in the home version, if you tap the flippers, it skips through that.
Skips it, okay, which would be a big difference, yeah. There you go. Yeah. Cool. All right, Rod. Well, we might fire it up and give you a quick play of it and see how well you can score on it. Okay. All right.
Welcome to the sideshow. This is Sideshow saying,
it's popcorn time!
the Sideshow Marble. I am the Ringmaster. Defeat me for the Ringmaster Marble.